guys, and welcome to my new video, and this is going to be a big one. Blizzard has finally listened, and patch 9.1.5 is going to be pretty much the most impactful early patch any of the World of Warcraft or Blizzard expansions have ever seen. This patch is going to include some huge changes, which begs the question from other people, why now? Why did you not do a similar things to Legion, to BFA in terms of quality of life? So this video is going to be looking at the positives, the negatives, because I guess people are still reluctant to look at this and be completely satisfied. We're going to be looking at everything here. We're going to be looking at 9.1 changes or 9.15 changes because they're so cool. It's hard for me not to get excited because they're basically covering all the bad things about this expansion and they're trying to pretty much remove it. And then we'll also look at some of the negativity and how Blizzard deals with expansion development throughout the different patches, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 and things like that. So let's go and get started, guys. So I probably already know some of the major things that are happening in the new patch, and this is basically their developer update. And honestly, the developer update was really honest, and it was really cool to see. I have to give props where it's due. Blizzard really came out in this patch and they said, hey, we listened to the feedback, we know exactly what you want, and they kind of delivered. Look at these changes that are happening in patch 9.15. Conduit energy removal, improved covenant swapping. Basically, you can swap covenants freely, which is probably the biggest gripe of mine when it comes to Shadowlands. Legendary item recycling, Legion time walking with Mythic Plus, and then all of these kind of cosmetic changes, alt, campaign, covenant skip. Like, this should have been introduced from the very start of the expansion. Legacy raid tuning, everything or majority of things that people wanted have been listened to and added in 9.15, maybe with the exception of AoE cap, which again, a lot of people wanted the AoE cap being removed, especially if you're going to introduce Legion time walking with Mythic Plus. You can't get everything, and I think the things that we got is pretty insane for a 0.5 patch. Now, it's not all perfect, and there is a lot of kind of interpretation to be made in terms of their blue post. The blue post I thought was excellent in terms of what they're trying to achieve or what they're trying to explain. There is some interpretation to be made. For example, once you reach a high renown threshold, you will thereafter be able to freely switch among any of the 4 covenants. Amazing. What is this high renown threshold? A lot of people have speculated, when is this patch going to come out? 9.15. Usually, I don't know, maybe couple of months. Maybe they're gonna try and change things around, because when was the last time Blizzard added this many expansion defining systems in a 0.5 patch? It's been a very long time. So maybe Blizzard is breaking the mold and they're going to be releasing this patch early. Now, but you also have to look that there is basically a schedule. There is a renown cap schedule. You reach renown 80 on October 19th, 2021. Could this be the possible patch? I mean, October 19th seems to be very far away, so I don't know if this is going to be a clear indication of when the patch is going to be released. Just, you should know that at this time, you will reach renown 80, which is the cap. Besides the vague language here, you also have to look at things like, if you have already completed a given Covenants campaign on a different character, you will be able to immediately earn the renown and third soulbind unlock without needing to replay the full narrative. Again, I'm not sure how much renown you earn. I'm assuming like 40. At minimum, I'm assuming 40 in order to unlock the third soulbind and things like that. Maybe more possible. There is a decent amount of interpretation to be made with the language here. There is a lot of people still questioning how good this is going to be. So in my opinion, this has to be a huge win. Blizzard has listened to a lot of the feedback. Blizzard has pretty much implemented 90% of what a lot of people wanted. Covenant swapping has to be one of the most annoying things that the expansion was based on. And you have to remember, the expansion was based on 4 covenants. That was the whole idea of the expansion. And they're removing that in a 9.1.5 patch. I honestly think this is a really positive change. The fact that Blizzard is listening and is willing to implement these changes so early, making sure that there's going to be people like me who will experience alts in a better way, people like me who will try to optimize their alts with different covenants, which therefore will increase my playing time and my enjoyment of the expansion. It's a win-win-win-win situation for me. I just want the patch to release right now. But what about the flip side? I'm extremely happy about this, but I also know people are wary of this change, and I don't blame them. There's a lot of people who are like, hey, this is kind of weird. You haven't really done this before. Why are you doing this right now? Why are you listening to everyone's feedback and implementing these changes so early? There's a lot of people who are still skeptical. You can see the Twitter posts who are basically just saying, I need to see the changes. Maybe it's a bit too late for me. Maybe I'm already off Shadowlands and I'm already playing other games. This might not be big enough to bring me back. I think if you like Shadowlands in any shape or form, this is going to be pretty big. But I can see where people are coming from. I can see that all of a sudden Blizzard listening to feedback, because I'm pretty sure they view this as a pretty dangerous period of time in Blizzard's or the company's inception. There is a lot of talk about new games, there's a lot of competition coming out, and pleasing your audience at this time, I think Blizzard views this as the #1 priority. Please the community, give them what they want so they play the game. And I think that's actually pretty great. But this also begs the question, why was this not a similar approach that they used in previous expansions, and why didn't they get these quality of life improvements faster rather than 0.3 patches? Community is big, and filtering out the community feedback is important. Part of being a game designer or developer, I feel it's important to filter out the good ideas from the bad ideas. And based on the post in 9.1.5, I think Blizzard is really capable of filtering out the bad ideas to the good ideas, and they basically implemented most of the things that I wanted, at least personally, and I feel a lot of the community wanted. So we basically circle back to the question, why was Legion or BFA did not have this similar development path? Like, you have to kind of see a pattern here. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, really see a pattern here if you played World of Warcraft for the last couple expansions. Blizzard will drip feed you these quality of life improvements, often too late in the patch or an expansion to make it worthwhile. Think about Legion. You had these legendaries which were really cool at the start, but then there was a big problem, the randomness, and then they added the Legion or legendary vendor at 0.3 patch, which was, again, it was great to play around, but it was often too late. The same thing happened in BFA with corruption, where you had corruption and then the corruption vendor appeared in the later patches. Still had this kind of weekly kind of rotation, which felt really awful, but it was still better than nothing. And now in Shadowlands you had the Covenants, and Covenants were probably going to follow a similar pattern where it's going to be removed at 0.3 patch. So you can see there's a pattern here. You can see that Blizzard knows exactly when to add the content patches, when you add these kind of, how do you say, quality of life improvements. And I'm fully aware that Blizzard knows exactly what makes the game good or what the community wants, but they will drip feed you these changes throughout an expansion unless something like Shadowlands happens, where the community as a whole almost forces you to please us and give us the changes right now. And one of the examples is when Sloot interviewed Morgan Day about a lot of the 9.1 stuff, and at the end of the video or the interview he asked a very important question. I thought it was very interesting to listen to.
Feelings in the community that a lot of feedback is bypassed from alpha, beta into the X1, X2, and then eventually it feels like what a lot of people have suggested finally gets implemented in like the X3 patch. And it makes some people feel like, well, why are they doing this now? We suggested this for months and months and months. Historically, it's come up a bit too. It came up with, if you remember, essences, of course. You know, account-wide essences was a meme for months and months. Finally, you guys made it account-wide. You know, it became like, oh, why don't they listen to us when it first happens, etc. So,
I mean, you know, ultimately, we're trying to make the best game we can, right? Like, there's definitely nothing that we're saying like, well, let's save that for later because we think we should wait to make the game better till later, right? Like, we're always looking to make, to try to achieve the goals that we set out to achieve with whatever system that we're introducing. You know, conduits have been a big area of discussion. Ian spoke with Mike about that at length. That's definitely something that we listen to feedback over time. We do our best to improve the systems while also kind of, you know, achieving the goals that we set out to achieve with them. Some of these changes, like I mentioned earlier on, we were just talking about, you know, patch philosophy. Like on our big .1s, we're adding content, we're expanding the width and breadth of the game and of the activities you can do. And oftentimes in those .5 updates are where we look to add some of these evergreen features that might feel like, oh, why didn't they do this earlier? But
and I think the answer was very interesting because I don't think Blizzard wants to make the game bad. Obviously, game developers want to make the game as good as possible, but I do believe that there is some truth to the fact that they know exactly what quality of life improvements and when they're going to add. They're trying to make the game as good as possible, but they're also trying to prolong your playing time. And prolonging your playing time in their eyes is including these quality of life improvements throughout the lifespan of the expansion rather at the start, because they're probably scared that you're going to be like, hey, this expansion is great, but we need some improvements later down the line, and they might not have those improvements planned. And again, this is a bit of a tinfoil hat theory, but guys, let me know how you feel about this. I know the second half of the video was a little bit negative towards, how do I say, the planning, the scheduling of Blizzard, the planning and scheduling of World of Warcraft expansions, but at the end of the day, the whole summary of the video is that I'm super excited and I'm super happy that Blizzard is adding all of these changes in 9.1.5 rather than 0.3. I don't want to wait a year for these changes to come in. I want the patch to happen right now. And this gives me hope. All of the changes that Blizzard has listed, I want all of them. I literally cannot wait to try out different covenants. I literally cannot wait to try out my alts, because it's going to be a lot easier. I think this patch is going to bring back people, and I think it really showcases that Blizzard can listen and they know exactly what's going on, which is a good thing, but also a little bit, let's hope they're not going to withhold these quality of life changes in the next expansion if the things are going better. Again, guys, let me know how you feel about this. Let me know how you feel about my tinfoil theories and things like that. Leave a comment below. I'll try to get through all of them. And guys, I'll see you in my next video.